I really want to go in a little deeper. I know you're a chief information security officer, or you want to be a chief information security officer, or you work in cybersecurity. But my question is, do you like it or do you love it? Welcome to Life of a CISO. I'm Dr. Eric Cole, your host, and we'll be taking you on a journey each week on what it takes to be a CISO and what are solutions that you can implement today if you are currently a chief information security officer or if you want to be one in the future. This is Life of a CISO. Welcome, 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 welcome. You know what time it is. Hopefully it's your favorite time of the day, favorite time of the week, or favorite time of the month, because I know it sure is mine when we get together virtually. One of these days I'll have to hold an event or a conference so we can all meet in person and have an amazing time. But until then, always appreciate you spending some time with me. Always appreciate you listening and being open-minded, right? Because we're all about being world-class. We're all about taking it to the next level. And that's really the topic of today's presentation. I really want to go in a little deeper. I know you're a chief information security officer, or you want to be a chief information security officer, or you work in cybersecurity. But my question is, do you like it or do you love it? Right? I forget which place it is, but I love my sweets and my ice creams, and once in a while I go to one of these ice cream places where they make it in front of you, and it's sort of they three sizes are not small, medium, and large. The three sizes are like it, love it, gotta have it, right? And that's sort of when I start working with folks, and I view all of you sort of like coaching clients, I sort of go in and ask the same thing. When it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to being a chief information security officer, do you like it? Do you love it? Or do you gotta have it? Right? Because to me, if you just view cybersecurity as a job, it will pay the bills. It will pay the bills very, very well. You'll live in a nice house with a nice car and go on nice vacations. But if you want to go next level, if you want total abundance, then it has to move from a job to a mission. It has to be your mission in life to secure cyberspace, your mission in life to secure your company, and your mission in life to secure all your friends and all your families. So it's really this alternative role of being an evangelist for cybersecurity, recognizing that with great power becomes great responsibility. I don't know if you realize the knowledge that we have about threats and attacks and exploits and threat actors and attackers and all those things. That's not common knowledge. People don't realize that. People don't know that. And we need to do a much better job of protecting and securing those around us. Now, I'll confess, this one is hitting a little too close to home for me. And one of the reasons I'm bringing it up, because I always have talked about what is the demographic that is targeted the most by cybercriminals. And the answer is retired folks, people over 65. And the reason is they tend to have a big nest of money, right? Because they work their whole life, they have their savings, they're either living off retirement or the interest or whatever their investment strategy is. So they have a lot of access to money. They're pretty open, they're kind, they're trustworthy, they're an amazing generation that didn't grow up with computers. Many of them didn't even get computers until they were in their 40s or 50s, and are very naive when it comes to that. So I would always say, around the holidays, spend some time talking to them about cybersecurity. Tell them if you get a phone call, if you get an email, if it somebody's trying to ask for personal information or bank account information or passwords or things like that, don't do it, don't do it. You need to educate them. We need to protect our elderly. We need to protect our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our aunts and our uncles. That is our obligation and what we must do. And once again, it's sort of one of those where sometimes the mechanic has the worst car on the planet, and sometimes the shoemaker's kids have no shoes. I thought I did this. I really did. And then it really, really hit home, and I still am sort of a little frustrated with it and processing it of how could I have let this happen. But a few weeks ago, my mother-in-law calls me, who I'm very close with, in total and complete tears, because on a Friday, she got a call which she thought was from an internet provider that they've used for a long time. Now, her husband passed away a year ago, and he ran all that stuff. So she's still trying to figure everything out, so to figure out the bills and all this stuff. And they call her up, and they start saying, hey, we just need to update your account. We need to track it. And she knew the name of the ISP because they've used them for 20, 30 years. So she recognized, she knew it. And it was one of those where they're like, okay, we just need to do some verification and we just need to do this. And by the time she finished, she realized what she did, right? Hindsight is 20/20. And she basically calls me up in tears because she was starting to get suspicious. What is your name? Okay, pretty easy. What is your address? Okay, we just need to verify and validate just sort of what are the last 4 digits of your social. And then they play this trick going, and just so we have it correct, your social is 73256. And she's like, oh no, that's not correct. It's blah, 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 right? She just naturally corrected that, didn't even realize it. And then she's getting suspicious of like, oh, and by the way, we just need to verify the account. So where do you do your banking and what's your bank account? And like she said to me, and this is the reality with most folks, is she's getting very, very suspicious. And by the time she finishes, she realizes that this is a scam. She realizes that she's been hacked. And fortunately, we were able, it was on a Friday, I immediately got on the phone. I immediately had to go to the local branches because notice attackers are going to do it on Fridays or Saturdays when you can't get access, right? Because most businesses and banks are closed. Fortunately, this attacker misplayed a little bit in our advantage and did it early enough in the day so we were able to go in and catch it. They did transfer $25,000, but because we caught it within 12 hours, they reversed it. They tracked it, they reported it as fraud, they were able to sort of recover it, investigate, and fortunately, other than a lot of headaches with newer bank accounts, new passwords, new credit cards, and all that kind of stuff, right, we sort of eluded disaster there. But I'm sitting there and I just remember that night, and even now I'm like, dude, how could you have let this happen on your watch? Right? This is what I do for a living. I've written 7 books. 2 of my books focus all on this topic. I tell people you need to talk to your parents and grandparents about it, yet somehow this happened on my watch, and I'm like, this is not acceptable, right? So I've stepped up my game, and all my family members are like, okay, why are you so aggressive now? I'm like, because I thought I did well training you, and I didn't. I realized I assumed you knew through osmosis, right? But you don't. And what I'm realizing is as I'm talking to my family members, what I thought was obvious and what I thought was common sense is not. So if you want to be a world-class CISO, we really need to go down this road of an evangelist, of really helping and securing our family, our friends, and then our neighborhood, our community, and then basically the nation and the world. But we really need to work together and really spread that information and that knowledge. I always joke, if you're blessed with a gift, share it with the world. Now, who would have thought cybersecurity, right, hacking and all that stuff is a gift, but it absolutely is. This is where everything is going. Everything is moving to online, everything, which means guess who else is moving online? The attackers. The attackers are moving online too. So online criminal activity is going to be 90 to 95% online in the next few years. I think it's about 80% now. I sort of try to run stats on traditional crimes. Like, I don't even, do people even rob banks anymore? It's like, I don't know why you would do that when it's so much easier to do the online version of it, right? But that's the reality. If you want to rob a bank in person, it's hard, it's high risk, low probability of success, high chance of getting arrested or getting shot, and typically only done by sort of lower IQ folks, because people that are really smart and think through it going, I ain't going to do that. Scary part. Really smart people that are criminals are going to go, Unfortunately, doing like what they tried to do with my mother-in-law, but fortunately, we caught him the last minute. I should have caught him earlier, right? So I need to step up my game with my family. But the reality is, the smarter the criminal, the more likely they're going to go cyber. The more likely they're going to go online. Smarter criminals do online crime. Dumb criminals do physical crime, which unfortunately makes it harder, more difficult to track and deal with. But the reality is, that's the reality. Now, there's also a hidden benefit. I always joke, and me and my friends, we get together. We have sometimes these weird conversations, or I should say other people think we have weird conversations, but we think it's quite normal to how our brains think. So with a bunch of my buddies that sort of think and act like me, and here's the question. Is there really such a thing as a selfless act? And we're sort of thinking about it, and we're like, really no, because when anything's viewed as selfish, you're actually getting benefit from. Like for example, we were talking about philanthropy or donating or giving money. Like around the holidays, I go in and love buying gifts for underprivileged kids and women's shelter and all those things, love helping and supporting that. And my friends are like, dude, that's totally selfish. And I'm like, it's actually not, because I feel really good, right? Afterwards, that's not why I do it. I do it because I love people and I care about people. And I believe the reason why each one of us on this planet is to help other people and help make the world a better place. So that's why I'm doing it with no personal interest. But the reality is, you always get a benefit because you feel good about it. One of the things I always joke with folks when I do talks on finance or investment or entrepreneur is I always have my favorite statement. Anybody who says money can't buy happiness has not given enough of it away. When you give money to people and you bless them unexpectedly, the amount of love and joy you get back, the amount of satisfaction and completeness you get back, trust me, it makes me really happy when I donate money or time to help somebody else. When I see what I did, my gift changed a child's life, changed the trajectory of their life. When they come up to you, a 6-year-old comes up to you and says, I was starting to think that Santa didn't exist, and this was the best Christmas ever. Thank you for being my Santa. I mean, if that doesn't choke you up and make you happy, we need to test your heart rate and your heartbeat and see, are you even alive, right? So the reality is, to me, ultimate joy and ultimate happiness is helping and supporting others. So we get back to, is there really any such thing as something that's selfless, right? Or is everything at some level you're getting benefit from it? And the reason I'm bringing this angle up is this. Your biggest job as a CISO is to convince your employees to follow the policy. If you really think about it at a high level, you're a chief officer. A chief officer's focus on the growth and expansion of the business using cybersecurity. How does cybersecurity become a strategic weapon? if everyone in the company follows the rules. If everyone in the company follows the policy, then you use it as a strategic weapon. If people are not following policies, creating backdoors, installing software, going in and clicking on links and opening attachments, it's going to be very difficult to secure the organization because the weakest link is the human. Most attacks exploit and take advantage of humans. And I would argue, if everyone in your organization followed policies, you would have very little attacks, and the attacks you do have would be small and caught very early. That's assuming you have good, robust policies. Most companies I work with have really good, really robust policies. The problem is nobody's following them. And enforcement is really, really difficult because it's sort of similar to speed limits. Yes, you can try to put like cameras or other things, but the reality is people are going to speed and only a small percent are going to get caught by the police and pulled over. Not everybody who speeds gets caught, which means people will continue to speed. You are always going to have people that don't follow the speed limit. You are always going to have people in your company that don't follow the policy. Your job as a CISO is to minimize and reduce that number as great as possible. And the best tool for doing that is persuasion. You persuading them and explaining to them why this is important and why this is critical. Most people don't do what they're supposed to do because they don't understand the why. When I go up to most people and I say, why are you clicking on links? Why are you opening attachments? Why are you doing this? I never, ever, ever, ever get, well, I just wanted to piss off security. I know many of you think that's why users do it. They actually don't. Most of the time is, Eric, it makes no sense. I need links and I need attachments to run my business, to do my job. That's how we make money. The policy makes no sense. There's no logic behind it. There's no reason behind it. There's no risk at all in me doing this, and therefore I'm going to do it. They don't understand the reason why. They don't understand the linkage to risk or exposure. And when I sit down and talk to them and explain to them how attackers work and operate and why they do that, I would say most of the time, they then follow the policy because people are reasonable. If people understand something, they're going to do it. If they don't understand something, they're not going to do it. So the more we can explain to them, the better. Now, here's the reality. I can't talk to every single employee in a company. So we have to rely on sort of what works, what doesn't, and sending emails, doing group settings, doing webinars and things along those lines. And CISOs will often bring me in to run their user awareness, to do their live sessions, to talk to executives. I just did a big session last week in the Philippines. It was great, except the time difference. So I was up at 10:30 p.m. till 1:30 a.m., right? We did a group awareness, then we did breakout sessions. It was a wonderful group of people. I did it remote. But yeah, in your office, in this studio on Zoom till 1:30 a.m., especially when you're a dude who gets up at 4:30, that doesn't work really well. You're going on almost 24 hours sleep there. But my point is, many times they'll bring me in and I ask them, I said, you have similar knowledge. Why are you bringing me in? And they said, Eric, because you're so good at it. You're so good at that persuasion. You're so good at explaining. You understand people. You understand patterns. You understand what will trigger them and cause them to start acting and behaving in a certain way. And then they go in, and this is where they partially get it wrong. They go, Eric, it's like you have a God-given gift for teaching and helping folks. And I always look at them and go, I wish that was true. But you should have seen me 10 or 15 years ago. Now, I do agree that my purpose, my God-given gift, is that I care about people. I love people and I want to help people. I truly do. And therefore, me learning how to talk to people, how to explain things in a way that they understand and can be persuaded to do the right thing to help protect themselves and protect their families and protect their company is a learned skill. But guess how I got good at it? By doing it over and over again. So here's the blessing in disguise. If you go in and spend time talking to your family members about cybersecurity, talking to your parents, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, and you start seeing what resonates and what doesn't, you're now building that skill. It's a muscle. So you're going to the gym. We have, depending on when you listen to this, we have holidays coming up, right, all around the world. And what a great time to hit the gym every day. Not the real gym, you should do that too, but this is the mental gym where improving your abilities to communicate cybersecurity messages to those who are non-technical. So the more you do it with your family and friends and neighbors and those in your inner circle, you're not only helping them, but you're also helping yourself because now you're building a skill that is desperately needed by every CISO. When I look at world-class CISOs and I look at companies that are really secure, they don't have a lot of breaches. Remember, you're going to have a breach, but they don't have a lot of breaches. And the breaches they do have, they catch early and are few and far between. So they have a few breaches a year, but they contain them, they control them, they detect them early. I can always guarantee one thing in any company that you would consider to have a fairly mature security program. They have a mature awareness program, and their employees are very up to speed on what they need to do in order to protect and secure the organization. Without good cyber-enabled employees, it's impossible for you to have a cyber-secure environment. Your employees must understand and know the basics. They must understand and know things like don't click on links, don't take phone calls, don't give out your bank account or credit card number or password no matter who they say they are. Don't install software, don't download apps that are free that you have no idea what they're doing. And the list goes on and on and on. But you, as a CISO, must develop this muscle. And the best way to develop it is outside the office. Because here's the reality. If you're not good at explaining security and persuading and resonating and examples and analogies, you're going to start to do it in your organization. And this is one of the unfortunate. I've seen really well-intentioned, good-hearted, kind, smart, brilliant CISOs do more harm than good. Because if you're not good at it and you go in and you try to tell people that they need to follow the policy and why they need to follow the policy and how, and it's not done in an authentic way because you don't understand how to connect, and it comes across very aggressive, it does the opposite. People walk away going, to be honest with you, I was sort of following the policy, but now that person just annoyed me and frustrated me, and I thought they were rude and obnoxious, and who are they to accuse me of not doing what I'm supposed to be doing and basically blaming me for breaches? That's their job, not my job. I'm not even following it now. Right? So I've seen that where it can actually backfire on you, because the reality is you cannot have a secure organization without employees that are security conscious. Security is everyone's responsibility. However, the way you accomplish that is by recognizing that it's yours. I know that sounds crazy, but if I go in and I start telling every employee, listen, cyber's your responsibility, not mine, and if we get a breach, it's your fault, it's not mine, that's not going to resonate, right? Because the reality is I'm the captain of the cybersecurity ship. So it is my fault. So I need to embrace and go, listen, I need your help. But this will also help you. The way you get people to do what you want is by helping them get what they want. So I'll let you in. We have a few minutes left. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to give you one of my secrets, one of my best kept secrets to being a world-class evangelist in the office, to being a world-class CISO. What do employees at your company really want? If we really break it down from a cybersecurity standpoint, what do employees really want? Be honest with you. They could care less about the company. Most of them don't have stock options. They're not high-end executives. They're not embedded in the company. If the company had a downturn, you'd lay them off in a second, and they know it. So unfortunately today, there's not as much loyalty as we would like. I know you go back 10, 15, 20 years, bigger companies, others, you can maybe play off the loyalty. This is your company. Right? This is your, aren't you proud of what you built? And you're going to be here for 30 years and you don't want to lose money and blah, 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 blah. But the reality today is there's not a lot of loyalty there. So that doesn't play that well. Most employees will be like, so we have a breach and the executives don't get their $5 million bonuses. Wah, 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 right? That's the unfortunate reality when I work with a lot of employees. There's not as much loyalty. But, secret sauce here, magical tips. What do they passionately care about? Their kids, their family, their loved ones. That's what they want. They want their kids to be safe. They want their kids to be secure. There's no parent out there that wants their child cyberbullied. There's no one out there that wants their child abducted by somebody over the internet who pretended to be a 16-year-old teenager and asked to meet up with them at Starbucks with the sole goal of abducting them. No parent wants that. And anyone who's been around or reads the news is terrified of that. Nobody wants their identity stolen. Nobody wants their bank account wiped out. No one wants their cryptocurrency when they wake up in the morning to be zero and they lost everything. That's what they care about. That's what they're passionate about. And that's what they're most concerned about. So give them what they want. When I go in and companies hire me to do corporate awareness training, they're always amazed because they come back and go, Eric, people loved it. They're so excited. They're so happy. They got so much good information. But you talk nothing about the company. Because when I do my corporate user awareness, it's all about protecting your kids and your family. That's all I cover. I walk in there and go, listen, I know you care about the most keeping your kids safe online. I know you're paranoid about it. For those that haven't read the news, let me just fill you in, and I do some sort of little real heartbreaking stories of what the reality is. I'm not trying to go in and overplay it, but too many people underplay it. So I give them the truth. I give them the truth on identity theft and bank accounts and say, this is the reality. You care about yourself, you care about your family, you care about your kids, you need to take action today. This is not a matter of if but when it is going to happen. Let me show you the stats. Boop, 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 boop. And you go in and you show the current stats, which right now is 1 out of 11 children is going to be a victim of online crime before they're 18. Actual stats, true. So then I go in here and I say, okay, how many children do you have? And they go, I have 3, I have 2, I have 4, and I put them in groups of 11. I say, okay, there's 11 here. 1 out of the 11, this is going to happen to. Which one is it going to be? And it really hits home. This is real. I got their attention. Then I go in and I give them tips and tricks to what they need to do to keep their family and their kids safe online. And they love it. But the executives are like, Eric, you didn't say anything about the company. Here's what you're missing. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If I can get them to not click on links at home, they're not going to click on links in the office. If I can get them not to install free apps on corporate devices, if I can get them not to install free apps on personal devices, they're not going to install them on corporate devices. If I can get them to secure and lock down and run endpoint security on home devices, they're going to do it in the corporation. So it's a little trick that I do where you focus on what they want and what they need, which is keeping their family safe. And by teaching them that, those skills will automatically come back and boil into the workforce. So you as a Chief Information Security Officer, if you want to be world-class, if you want your organization to be secure, you must embrace and own the fact that you are an evangelist, and you will start realizing that there are no selfless acts, because the more you help family and the more you help friends, the better you're going to feel and the more secure your organization is going to be.